Hi, I'm Ross from EGR, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Adam Greenblatt, who is the CEO and driving the powerhouse BetMGM. How are you, Adam?
Wow, with an intro like that, I couldn't be better. Thanks for having me, Ross. It's doing really well. Thank you.
Appreciate it. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your experience in relocating to the US and growing BetMGM.
So, I mean, the relocation bit was really hard, actually. The visa process was challenging, to say the least. But having got through that, brought the family over. We were here for about 6 months prior to COVID. So, 6 months in a new country, trying to find your feet, it's somewhat deer in the headlights-ish. And then we were in this environment. So to say it's been an unusual couple of years would be an understatement.
Right.
But we found our way. I think the use of technology to communicate, to stay together, has been very effective. When we left the office, I think 11th or 12th of March last year, there were two things which brought the whole business together. Some in person who were in the office, and the others in this format. And so in a single meeting, we said, look, we don't know what's ahead. This is really uncharted territory. But what I do know is that our survival in the first instance and our success depends on two things. One, clarity of purpose, and two, stick together, right? And so we spend time as a management team and as a business really focused on that. Over communicating, over engaging in the new way, in a virtual way. And even me, we had daily calls where the whole business attended, where we would talk about growth challenges, share successes, preview things that were coming down the line. And what we found was, as a result of this, everyone had a much greater sense of their role in the wider purpose of the business, how they fitted, how what they do, what I do, what they do fits together and fits in. And that was very galvanizing. But, in terms of that first item, clarity of purpose, that was very, very effective. But what also came out was that as we grew the business, as we scaled the business, new staff to the business very quickly got a sense of what BetMGM's about.
Right.
How we make, and a lot of the feedback we had as a senior management team was from the rest of the business was, this is terrific. I'm seeing our CEO, I'm seeing our VP group, our C-suite virtually every day. This is unheard of in a work in the office environment. And the benefit of that was not only profile and connectedness, but because of the way we communicated about the issues, it shared, it exposed to the business how we make decisions, how we talk to each other, how we respect each other's voices. And so, as we were scaling, the culture that we were able to develop and the effectiveness of how we were able to onboard new team members, I think has been really fundamental to the success we've seen at BetMGM.
You're moving across the states at warp speed at the moment, and things are changing. And as I said, you're driving this powerhouse BetMGM. What does an average day look like to you at the moment?
Well, it starts with 4-year-old twins. And
right. Okay.
And they're really the bosses. I do whatever they say. No.
Okay.
So it's the morning is my time with the kids, and then pretty much from, depending on the day, 7:30, 8 until the end of the day, until we go to sleep. Really, it's well, the set piece stuff gets quieter around 7-ish, but it's Zoom after Zoom. And the days are about new states. So market access is an important one. obviously keeping up with the developments in the industry. Spend time most days in fact, every day with our senior management team. So it's all of the strategic challenges of our business, of scaling, extending our footprint, product challenges and product roadmap, and then of course people.
Well, that's it's impressive. I'm glad that you start with the morning to yourself. That's good to hear.
To myself, I'm not so sure.
Oh well, with the family. So you guys have grown significantly in the last couple of quarters in terms of revenue and market share. Do you expect it to slow down? If and how much? What does the future look like to you at the moment?
Yeah. So look, the growth. There are two categories of growth which I think are relevant to the answer. One is, of course, just expanding our footprint, which is why I'd spend time on market access, really focus on that footprint expansion. That's fundamental. And then, of course, it's how well we are doing in each state. So a rising tide floats all boats. So growing with the market, but that's not good enough for us. It's are we winning market share? And that's our relative competitive position, which has hundreds and hundreds of supporting pillars that all need to be orchestrated. And when they do come together in a fluid and fluent way, I mean, that's when it feels good for our players, for our for BetMGM players. And so, that's as we look to the future, the growth is likely to be at least over the next 18 months, I would say 18, 24, 36 months even, driven more by expanding our footprint, on a relative contribution basis, expand more by expanding footprint compared with in-state growth. But certainly in-state growth is a huge amount of distance to travel.
So it's been 2 weeks since you released the BetMGM mobile sports betting app in Washington. Just interested to know how is that going? Is it expected? I know it's still very early days.
It's still very early days. I mean, we were delighted by the perfection of launch. So no hiccups, really a smooth glide path in once we got through all of the compliance and licensing requirements. And what's interesting is that in the district, we have exclusivity around the National Stadium and a 2-block radius around it. So that creates, from a consumer proposition, our players, we have to educate that, actually, I have to be in this really specific area in order to make my bet. I can download the app, fund my account outside, but in order for my wager to be successful, I need to be in this specific zone. So we've developed some really interesting, I think, quite effective, quite cool navigation and notification features for our players. So, for example, if you've got the app open and you walk across the road from the approved zone, you open the app will direct you, tell you what to do with a map and a graphic, tell you what to do to get back into the zone. And that we developed specifically for DC, but it has broader application as we think to the coming together of it's part of our omni-channel strategy, the coming together of digital and physical brick and mortar environment. We want, this could be viewed as a supercharged wayfinder. And we can direct our players to where we would like them to go with their purpose, with a specific purpose. And that might be in a physical world or a digital world. So that's quite exciting. But yeah, it's early days. It's early days. But we see the DC as an important part of our DC, Maryland, Virginia axis. We're the business BetMGM is performing extremely well in Virginia. And we understand the player mobility within that region. And so, as we look to the future, where we will be offering a single account to our players, that kind, one login, fund your account, and then you roam freely and bet freely with BetMGM. And I think that hopefully when we launch that, that will be set us apart in the industry, and that will be blanket across all of our digital properties.
Wow. So it's not so long since you obviously relocated to the States, but I read something recently that you're ranked in the top 10 CEOs to work for in the United States. And I think that was with Glassdoor.
Now you got me blushing, Ross. Look, yes. Okay. So just to clarify the fact, that is right. I was, thanks to the feedback from colleagues in the business, I was ranked 10th in the category of small and medium-sized businesses in the US, and there are, I think, 316,000 of those. So it's for a little boy from Cape Town. This feels like amazing, actually. I mean, just beyond my wildest imagination. But the reality is, and I've said this in writing in a number of forums, the reality is, I have such a talented team around me, and as I look to their capability, and it's not just really strong executives, it's talented in what they are able to do, but the other layer, the other dimension, which is so critical to what we have at BetMGM, which is why I believe it is special. It's how we go about doing what we do. It's that human dimension, the high IQ of my senior team and the team below them. I think that the award that I've been fortunate enough to be recognized for really goes to them, because I only have so much reach, and this is a reflection of a much broader capability and impact.
That's thank you for sharing that, and you must be really, really proud of it. Just a question from EGR: are we doing enough to support you over your career, and how have you found the intelligence and rapid reports?
So as a plug for EGR, I've been an EGR reader for years. I've been in the sector, in fact, since the beginning. I think I was an EGR subscriber and reader, and it's without question, it's one. There are frankly two that I read every day, and EGR is absolutely one of them.
Oh, well, that's great to know. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Well, look, Adam, I know it's the morning where you are now, and I don't want to take that family time away from you. I really appreciate you sharing it. I can't wait to see what we're going to report on next and what your next moves are, but it's been an absolute pleasure today. Thank you.
Stay tuned. Some exciting things ahead for BetMGM. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure, Ross.
Cheers now. Bye-bye.